Welcome to Trading Lounge and the daily US stocks for Friday, October the 7th. This is the SPX here, just on TradingView, and we're just looking at the volume here. So today's bar was, well, closed lower, but it also closed on lower volume than the previous day. So this bar here is got increasing volume in over this one here. So increasing volume in the direction of the market, the trend, is a trend, a confirmed trend. The price action is confirming the trend. Then we've got this move up here that closed higher than it opened, but on lower volume. So it's really going up there on hot air, so without increasing volume. So it's a sign of weakness, and that weakness shows up the next day. And this move down here, it closed lower, but it also closed on lower volume. So this here is also, this is basically a corrective pattern going to the upside, but this is also a corrective pattern coming to the downside, because if it was a trend coming down, then it would have higher volume than the previous day. So basically what we've got here, we've got the market stalling in a correction. So the question is, well, how far do we go down before we go back up again? Because the whole thing here is corrective at that point. If this bar was lower like this on higher volume than this bar here, then the sellers would be in control at that point. So with that, all that in mind, this is the S&P here. It's a CFD product, so probably have slightly different pricing. But the main point here is that we're looking at this rally in two different ways. So the first one is that, well, there seems to be a little bit lower. Let me just go back to the SPX here just for a moment. Just wanted to check. Yeah. So, I mean, the other point here too is that, you know, when a market comes down to an old low, it's likely to find support. We can see that in the volume here. And, you know, have a corrective bounce. So it's doing all the right things. It's just from my point of view, is what have we got here in some, you know we got support here. We can see the volume coming in. We can see the rally. How far is it going to go is what we really want to know at this point. So there's, as you know, I've been looking at it in two ways. And this is the same as stocks as well. So yesterday with these indices and stocks, I said I don't have any answers, but as the market unfolds further, well, then we'll have more information and we'll have a little bit more confidence, and the story builds and the plot thickens and so on. So I can look at it as 1 and 2 and 3 down here, an A and a B and a C for 4 coming back to the 38.2% retracement level. That's fine. And really from that high here, we would need to see the market come down now from that, right? So we've seen it stall here, but have we seen it come down? No. Is the volume confirming it to come down? No. So that causes a little bit of a problem at this point, but we'll just stay with that story here as wave 3, ABC for 4 and down for 5. Now the thing is once we get this wave 5 down here, or if we do get this wave 5 down here, well then we're going to have, I'll just bring it to the side here a little bit, an ABC correction here for wave 2 here. It's also possible to look at this as a B wave or an X wave. So if you've got to count it differently, that's fine, but you should still have it in that in a 3-wave move coming back 61.8% from the low, and then we'll go down again at that point. So it doesn't really matter if you've got it labeled differently. It's okay. So this would be one pathway. Okay, now that's great because we always wanted to short this area over here, and the same with stocks, you know. So the other point here is that, well, in a lot of other markets around the place, this wave 4 here, and in some of the banks, but not all of the banks, this wave 4 here is overlapping wave 1 over here. It's not an issue here at the moment. I mean, it's just not an issue now, really, with wave 4 here at the 38.2% retracement level. But a lot of Asian indices and European indices have overlapped this here. And like I said, a bank or two has done that, and some stockers have done, other stocks have done that. So it does cause a bit of a problem. It doesn't sort of show up here, but it's in the sort of shadow in the background, and that sort of haunts me a little bit. So I need to sort of think about that, and the only other way about doing that is bringing this wave 5 as this low in place here, and looking at this as wave 1 in here, and then looking, because that's the low here and we have 5 waves up here, we'll have to look at that as the A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave up here. But at the end of the day, we still end up with a wave 2 over here like we would end up over here. It's just that we get to this one first. So yeah, as I mentioned yesterday, I don't know what's what at the moment, and we're just piecing the story together. We don't need to do anything, so we just chill, and yeah, that's about it really. And once we get up here, we'll be looking at this 5-wave structure up here, and we'll see the angle of it as well, because normally the A wave is quite sharp and the C wave's a bit more lazier. So if we see that lazy C wave there, then that's going to help us be able to short this market a little bit earlier rather than waiting for confirmation. If this movement is just as fast, well, then that will be a little bit haunting, because then we'd have to look at this as a 3rd wave up, and as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and go further up, and then that would bring this C wave across over here with this B wave over here. Now, is that possible? Am I seeing that anywhere? The only place I'm seeing that is in the British pound. Now, you might sort of ask me what relationship that's got. Well, follow the money, everything's connected, and so on and so on. So I look for these things. I'm trying to confirm where the US dollar is in its structure, so there's other work going on in the background here, but so that would be something else beyond this particular pattern that we'd be looking at this point. So there's nothing to do. Obviously, I think we've got the non-farm payrolls tomorrow. I don't think that's a real big issue to the market. I think the whole market is really centered around the Feds, you know, being strong about their opinion in the inflation story. So really the CPI figures that come out a bit later, I think around the 13th or something of this month, would be a bit, you know, would be more important. But they're not going to change it just on one report either, but that would be, the CPI figures would be more important than anything else at this point in time, I would imagine, but that's not my expertise. So anyway, that's my little story about this area here. So I feel like we don't need to do anything anywhere across the board at the moment. So I mean, even if the, you know, even if this drops down to the B wave here, for example, and same in stocks, it's a bit hard to short it down there in terms of risk reward. And yes, and then it may come down to here as well, but it's only going to bounce off here, you know, around the 3,500. You know, so, and it's not the trade that we want, it's this leg over here. Yeah, we can poke around in these things if we're on point with the count, but yeah, anything to do in here at the moment. Obviously you can go along above the top, that's cool, you could do that. But anyway, we'll talk about this more in the indices video. So Apple is a little bit of a world unto its own. It's, you know, rallied much higher than the other markets. So it's got, you know, it's just a little bit different from the other market. But the same thing applies here. We can either move up to this point and then drop down here for I'll just call it wave 1 at this point, and then come back for 2 or whatever, or we call the low in here and we have an ABC pattern moving up here. So we always spend a little bit of time on Apple, so we're going to go to the 10, the 5, the 1, and maybe the 100. We'll see on this, just to sort of paint the picture. I mean, in the essence of this here, where it's doing all the right things in terms of, you know, because this area here, as I mentioned before, is the 50-60% retracement level from, you know, from this move up here coming back here. So it's stuck there and on the 150, then it's dropped through here. So it's very normal for it to go back up and retest it before dropping down again. The question is how far up into the supply zone will it do that? Now, this current move up here doesn't really have this nice ABC pattern that we've been using on the S&P and the Dow and all the others. So it's just really got a straight sort of move up here, but it does appear to be a bit impulsive at this point. So in this case, we've got it as wave 3, 4, and coming down for wave 5, and then we'll go back up again, and then we'll come back down again. Yeah, it can just come halfway down or a little way down to, you know, some sort of support area through here somewhere as an A and a B and a C wave moving back up to here, but we'll be looking at that in a moment. I don't think the 5-tick K has got anything to add to this story. No, I mean, as it stands at the moment, that wave 4 should be going in there. Anything above that, the 38.2%, and then really it's not going to be this wave 4. We can just cross it out, you know. The 1 hour, the 1000 ticks got a completely different count on it. It's got to do with the daily chart, so it's some WXY thing. So in this case here, it's a pretty clean case of 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Now I know that you can count this up a little bit differently, but this is kind of pretty good as it stands. So an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up at this point. So it would come back, you know, to roughly this consolidation in here was the first one, so across the top here, then it was that consolidation, then it's this one here. So, you know, it's going to be sort of over here somewhere with all of that as such. You know, could it just push up from that point there? Possibly, but we'll just see how it goes. Like I said, it doesn't really matter. We don't really want to get involved. Well, I don't particularly want to get involved in this particular move because I just don't see the risk and the reward there. It just doesn't add up to a safe trade at this stage. So this would be the other thing anyway, an A wave, a B wave. And this could get rather complicated in here too. Just because I draw a line down here, that means diddly squat. You know, we might end up getting, you know, something that's up here first and then down here and then up here. Do you know what I mean? Because a B wave here is a bit like a wave 4. So this could be like a recurring pattern like this. We've got that first move down, then this one and this one. So it'll be down, up and down. So it could be something like that. So, you know, trade less, just put your position sizes much smaller, but that's where that is. I won't go to the intraday and count all that up because it's just burning up a little bit of time that's unnecessary. NVIDIA here off the low, I can count this up as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I don't know about this structure here though, but I've been through it with a fine-tooth comb on these ones. So wave 5 is up here somewhere. Just not sure about, a little bit tricky to count with those spikes in here. So it doesn't really matter, we're just going to wait. Looks like the stochastics is pulling back down here while that's going sideways. So, you know, it may not even pull back down here. It might sort of move up here further and then come back down like that, just as I mentioned with Apple, and then up. So some weirdness is going to be sort of in here. So just be very careful about what happens in here. But this is a low. It's had a reasonably nice landing here. Nothing sort of suspicious about it. We do have an impulse wave to the upside on that. So yeah, we've got a bit of an impulse wave here now that I look at it. But yeah, anyway, yeah, we're just going to leave it anyway. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Amazon's a little bit trickier actually. I mean, it started its correction over here and hasn't made a new low here as such. So yeah, we have to look at this as really being, you know, all part of some type of correction here because it hasn't made a new low here. And we can see that it's in 3 waves here, and then this is in 3 waves here. I was sort of looking at this being 5 waves up here. So I don't know how this is going to finish off here. That looks impulsive here. So that looks impulsive. So if that's impulsive, then we'll have an ABC here, and then a B wave up, and then a C wave down here. So it's something like this, you know. It's got a nice support on this level here now. So, you know, it could quite easily just, you know, take these tops out here and you know, continue to the upside. It may not even pull back down into this here. So I might need to look at this a little bit differently here as well, looking at all that move up as the A wave. And I don't know if I can put a B wave over there, but might need to put it here. Anyway, it's not going to be, it's not, even if it does go up here, based on that 5 waves here, some type of corrective pattern, and then a push up to the B wave, and then down again. So just be a little bit a bit careful about this. Oops, about this situation here. You know, it was only that. Sorry, just wonder what I deleted. Yeah. So a bit of a complicated one, this one, but yeah, like I say, I'd just don't about getting involved in it just yet. I can't see a clean pathway for us on that. Meta platforms is a bit like Amazon. Amazon did start its correction a few days earlier over here, but kind of got the same thing happening here. We've got this as the A wave, and then an A, B, C for the B wave, and then I was looking up at this thinking, well, do we finish it off like that? Is that how we're going? Is that how it's going to finish, in some sort of, you know, diminishing sort of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is that it, or what's going to happen here? You know, are we ready to go down here on this one just yet? I'm not quite sure. Will it get more complicated? I don't know just yet either. It's not like the best looking finish. It's sort of okay in its own way. It looks sensible. It kind of got a bit of sense to it, but is that right? I'm not quite sure just yet. I suppose if the 138 became the resistance, that would, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it could all be up for 1 here and back for 2. That's the other thing too. So having this up here as 1 and coming back for 2 here, and having a more of a picture to the upside in line with the other markets. So let me just, so it could just pull back to, well, got to stick a flag in somewhere, I guess. So could be just something like this A wave here, B wave, and C wave to here, and then going up for wave 3, 4, and 5, you know, in line with the rest of the market, so to speak, you know. Could be something like that, you know. But this is how markets work in corrections. You know, we know in wave 2 and 4 where we have simple, complex, simple, complex, or more complex. Anyway, we'll see. I'm not quite sure. We're not there yet, you know. And Netflix here, it's sort of, you know, this is showing me a corrective pattern here. Probably go further up in all of this as well. It just looks like it wants to push up here. That's the thing. But as long as these tops stay in place, as I mentioned before, it'll probably end up being something like this, you know. I'm not quite sure. I don't have any answers for this just yet. There's no trend coming out of this just yet. We'll just keep keeping an eye on it, and it'll come to pass. Enphase here. So yeah, we've been looking at it as the top of wave 3, as you know. We can look at it as an A wave, a B wave, a C wave for the A wave, and then the B wave, and then the C wave here for this. It might not play out like that as well. We could also look at this as 1 and 2, and that would bring us down to We could even have another low in here. I mean, the thing here is that we could treat this as wave A here and come over to wave B. We are getting a bit of an impulse wave off the low here, but this move down here also looks a bit impulsive as well. It's sitting on the you know, on its support here, but it does look a bit impulsive down here. I mean, here from this low looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks sort of okay at this point. But this sharp move down is a little bit haunting for a wave C, I have to say. So, I mean, it could be a wave 3 coming down. It could be an A wave, a B wave up here. Just shooting the breeze as we've been doing with this. So we could have it as an A wave, a B wave, and then have this as wave 1 here and 2 over here, and 3, 4, 5 to come down for another low here. So we're not quite sure. I'm not quite sure yet. The main point here is that we're seeing sharp moves to the downside, and we're seeing corrective moves to the upside. So we're not. This is the first instance that we're seeing a little 5 waves here. It's not really big enough strong enough to take on what we're seeing here in this bigger trend here. So we just need to be a bit careful. I'm just going to put wave 4 over here for this at the moment. We need to gather more information. It is at its 38.2% retracement level. We do have a little impulse wave off there, but I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, so I can see the weight of this situation here. You know, sitting on this little twig here is just not enough at this point. So we'll just keep an eye on that. As we have been doing, we'll just keep doing that. Tesla is is moving in the right direction, and obviously the point that I'm showing this daily chart or 50,000 tick chart is that you know, when it comes down to these lows here around to the 200 area here or thereabouts, anywhere within 200, then 10, 20 and 30 make up group 1. That's where the support starts to come in. It's going to find support here, and there's going to be some sort of rally here. All right, and then we'll come down again. There will be a bigger move to the downside over here for this. So yeah, I don't know how you want to sort of treat this a little bit. We'll go and have a look at the wave count, but when we get to 30 here, that's where the support's going to start coming in, and then it gets a bit bouncy. When it gets to 30, it can go back to 50. Normally it bounces back to 40, but it can go to 50. So all of this here, this 10, 20 and 30 in here, is going to that's what slows it down into this area here, and then we'll get a bounce like this here. So we'll get much the same here. So that you can sort of see through this low, this, and back here. So we could come back to the 250 again in here on this bounce, or even higher. So yeah, the other point here too is, as I mentioned before, it is possible to put this here and this over here and this here, which would leave this as a wave 1 here and a wave 2 over here for that, because that is the high. The reason I haven't done that is because I didn't get a nice 5 waves in here. I got 5 waves in here, but it didn't make a new high here. And we do have 5 waves in here, but I looked at this as the A, B, C for the 4th and the 5th wave here. So I think that we just need to keep, as I mentioned before, and I'll keep mentioning it because down here this is where it's going to play out in one way or the other, and this will become important at that point, and we'll need to make if we just track both situations as it comes down here, then that will make it easier. So we'll end up with having 2 counts down here. In the meantime, we'll just go into the 100 ticks and just check on this a bit. So from this top, so we might need to, you can see here that this looks like an A and a B and a C wave up to here, and then we've got 5 down through to here, but we can look at this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here to finish off. But you could look at that as corrective as well. I understand that. So, but it hasn't stopped us so far with all of this. As I mentioned yesterday, there's probably this little move from wave 4 here coming down here hasn't really given us 5 waves. I could force it to give us 5 waves by like having 1 and 2 here and 3 to here, 4 and 5. I could do something like that, but it doesn't have the right look and feel about it. But at the same time, this here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 coming back up here, it overlaps wave 1 coming down here. So I'm inclined to put this wave 3 here and this wave 4 here. Now, is that wave 4 finished, or we need to put it over here? Technically, it can come back to this point here, and also technically from wave 2 high up here, it can come back to the 38.2% retracement level, which is back up here anyway. But I find that in sort of bearish sort of situations like this, sometimes they just don't pull back to this wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, you know. We can always sort of bring them down, but I'm a bit unsure where to put this at the moment, so I'll just leave it out of the way. But just be mindful that it can come back and test here. Once we can confirm that wave 4 into here, then we can bring the stop down to that wave 4. Okay, but we can't do that just yet, so we're just going to leave that out of the way. But we need to make, the important thing here is we need to make new lows. So we haven't made new lows yet. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down here, and we could put that into here. So that's probably what I'm thinking, but we'll see. But we still need to come down further. But in coming down, what you need to understand, that's why we looked at the bigger picture, is coming into the 200 here, the 10, the 20, and the 30. That's where it starts to get a bit bouncy in here. That's where the support will come in, and if that comes into here, then this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming into here. If we have to use this here as wave 1 here and 2 here, then we're going to be looking at a wave 4. Once that low's in here, then we'll be looking at a wave 4 from over this place. There'll be a couple of different ways to look at this, which can also bring it back up to the, well, at this point, if it comes into the 20, it can come back up to these wave 4s over here. So it might be advantageous to take a little bit of money off the table down here somewhere coming into group 1, kind of split the bet up a little bit, you know, take, you know, a bit here at 30, a bit at 20 and a bit at 10 or something of that nature, or just stay in there, do whatever you need to do. But yeah, anyway, we'll keep shooting the breeze. But the point being here, we do have 1 and 2, and then we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave here, the blue wave, and then we'll have wave 4. That could be wave 4 here, or it could get a bit bigger and uglier, and then we'll have wave 5. So wave 5 should be, you know, should be much the same length as wave 1 here. So we should be down here somewhere. So anyway, but when we get to this wave 5, you need to take the money off the table, because we're going to get a bounce at that point. It's either going to be this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 back here, or it will be something else. I'll mull that over a little bit more. Okay, alphabet here, just on the daily chart. There's 2 ways to look at this. We can look at it from the top here as 1, 2, 3, 4, and then coming down for wave 5 here. And we've got them, we'll look at wave 1 being in place here for this. And then we'll go back for wave 2, like the other markets. We'll come back to the supply levels in here for that, the 110. Or we need to also now put this jam in this 4 and 5 into this trend here and call this wave 1. And we'll be coming up here as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave up here for that. And then we'll be coming down from that point. So as I mentioned, I don't know what's going on here. I won't go to the intraday because we've seen a lot of these before, but yeah, we do have an impulse wave to the upside based on that low there. So we'll just see how that plays out. It's not ready yet, and the same here with Microsoft. We've got, you know, if we take it from the low, we can look at an impulse wave to the upside. If I take wave 3 from here and look at this as the A, the B, and the C wave, well, then we have wave 4 in. So it's the same thing. So we've got the move up here. We'll come back to the box, and then we'll go up, or we'll come down at that point. So the risk reward in going short here is I don't know, it just doesn't sort of add up for me. So it's more of a day trading kind of scenario really for that. I won't go any further into that particular trend, but this is the pattern here. We just need to work out if we've got wave 2 here or here, and this will be the trade coming down. It'd be nice if this was the A, the B and the C wave up here. That will make life a little bit easier, and we'll get to wave 2 quicker that way, and we'll get into wave 3 and have some pocket money for Christmas. Berkshire Hathaway here. From the low here, we've got the A wave and A, B and C here, and then 1 and 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave. We've got this as a corrective pattern, as you can see here. It's in 3 waves, but this wave 5 here doesn't really take out the top there, but it does look a bit impulsive with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to call it wave 5 of C, and the fact that it's sort of testing this low here now, hasn't breached it, but if it does breach it, then it kind of puts it in the right place for that. I could have this as an A and a B and a C wave over here for that. That's possible. But anyway, as an A and a B and a C wave up here, it can come back to the box and then go up. So we could put this wave. I mean, basically what's going to happen here, we're either going to come down, right, like all the other markets, or we're going to be coming down into this 270 sort of area here, and then going up here, and we would need to put wave B in place at that point. Any move above here and we will be going higher at that point. I mean, we could probably even look at this here as wave 3 here, and wave 4 pulling back to this wave 4 here, and then going up here for another move up here, and then we'll have to put wave A over at that point. Then I'll just see how it pulls back. I just want to keep gathering more information at this point. But if you see Friday being bullish, well then you'll need to go in that direction. Sorry, I'm just checking my short trade on the S&P. So yeah, this market's here. We can do this. It's just the same. You know, we can either just come straight down from this point here, or we can go up into that point there. Because you know, we're looking at PayPal yesterday with this. If I can just go into the stocks on this platform and go to PayPal here. So PayPal had a bit of a different sort of scenario. It had this sort of ABC pattern. Look, by all means, it could just it could just drop from this point here. That's not an issue. But this move up here, you know, seems a bit impulsive. So as an ABC pattern here, it's good. Yeah, if that is the case, then we can just bring that into here and we'll be going up here further. But we can't prove that yet unless we get an impulse wave here. We've only got 3 waves here, so we would need to get 5 waves here. So be careful about this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and then there'll be an ABC back. So there's plenty. You don't need to rush into this. We need to get that first. Otherwise, coming from this point, you could just come down from that point there. You know, over the last 2 sessions here, we're not in the market. The price has moved up, but the volume has been decreasing as it's moving up. So it wants to come back. So this here, it will probably come back into the B wave here and then push up at that point. So I'm just not interested in it just yet. And over to the bank. So this is 10,000 ticks. So it's a little bit like a daily chart here. So the situation here is that very much like the S&P, it pulled up into the 50-60% retracement area there. And we know this move up here is corrective because the other banks are very clear about that point. this situation down here, this is wave 1 here and 2 here, and we can look at this as wave 3 and 4 here and then down for 5. That may play out, but with some of the other banks, we've got this wave 1 here with wave 4 overlapping in some of the banks. I think it was JP, I think, just overlapping. So it's a bit difficult to call that. You know, they don't all have to have the same count, but at the end of the day, they're all going to kind of be moving together to a point. So we've got to kind of keep bringing them together. But as it stands here, if that comes down here, that will give us a nice 5-wave structure, and then we'll have wave 2 here, and then we'll come down at that point. It's either going to be something like that, or we'll need to drag wave 1 in over here, and this will be an A and a B and a C, and we'll look for wave 2 over here. So we don't know just that yet. So this is what it means here. This little move up here for JP here, this has overlapped this wave 1 here. So it's a bit difficult to call that. So we're looking at it as an A and a B and a C. But this is what we've got to work out. It's the same old story, you know. So a little bit of patience, and we'll get there in the end. It's just yeah, it's just not ready yet. And the same with the Bank of America as well. I had a lot of shorts in here, but I cleaned those out. Actually down here somewhere. So I did okay, but not as well as I'd wanted to, and now I'm just going to wait for that. But apart from that, we've got this. I was just trying to bring in wave 1 here. It's not overlapping over here for this, so it's still a good case. We've got 1 and 2 and all the way down for 3 and A, B, C back for the 4th here. So we just got to see if this comes down. If it comes down, well, then we can put wave 1 over here, and then we can focus on wave 2 being over here for this. But if this comes down into 31 here and then pushes up here, right, then we'll have to look at this as being wave A here and B here and C up here, and then wave 2 over here. So I don't know which way to go with this just yet, and you know, I'm okay with that at the moment. I just know that I need to be patient to get what I need to get over here. I don't want to get involved in something that I don't understand at this point. So in one way or another, we're not at that wave 2, and that's what we need to short. So we need to work out how this is going to play out, as simple as that. And if it comes down here, I don't mind. It'll just come back at this point. And this wave 2 here will then probably only come back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree anyway. So yeah, it's not, all this is, yeah, anyway, it's just not ready. That's about the size of it. Alrighty, I'm going to leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.